What's up, everybody? KJ here with God, but it's a great day today, baby. So, psychoneuroimmunology. Say that or think it. Psychoneuroimmunology. That is a word. It's basically the study of how the body and the brain, our thoughts, emotions, all that stuff impacts our health, okay, good or bad. And there's a lot that goes into it, but that's just basically the most simplest way for me to describe it. And I came upon this word back in 1990/91. As a senior in high school, we had to do a book report, a book report, a thesis, something like that, and we could pick whatever topic we wanted. So I guess it wasn't a book report, so it was some kind of big thesis thing, whatever, for our senior year. So I was thumbing through a thesaurus, a dictionary, or something. Again, I had no clue what I wanted to do my report on, and it was getting towards the end of our timeline where we had to choose something, choose the topic. And I just opened the book. I just, quote, happened to open the book up and fell in the peas, and it says, I see this big word, psychoneuroimmunology. Of course, I never heard of that. Didn't have a clue what that was, but I was like, that's a big old word. Kind of sounds interesting. I read a little bit about it. I was like, man, that sounds really interesting. Hey, let me do my report on that. So long story short, I did. Okay, I think I did okay on it. I don't even remember. I guess I got a decent grade. I got out of high school. But it was interesting because, again, I had no idea I was going to be in the health field at that time. I had no idea that I was going to be interested in all this, spirit, soul, body, and the association between the soul, the spirit, the soul, and the body, how our words and our thoughts affect our health, emotions, and all that. I had no clue about that. But that was God, I believe 100%, showing me and leading me down that path already. And it was many years after that before I picked any of that back up. But just even back then, research was a lot different back then because you actually had to go to the library and get the librarian to help you with finding different information and books and articles and stuff like that. A lot different than today, but very interesting. Most of those studies that I was reading through were from like the 60s, 70s, 80s. And so even back then, they were studying how emotions, how thoughts, how words affected the body, affected health. And a lot of the studies were done on cancer patients. It was very interesting how they, I'm keeping something up on my computer here, how they actually use their words and their thoughts to pull themselves out of, to be healed from cancer. It was very interesting back then. So, fast forward to today, here we are. And this psychoneuroimmunology, like I've read this big thing from PubMed, okay, that it's a big article / meta study or something where it takes a bunch of different psychoneuroimmunology based studies, papers, and puts it all together. It's just very interesting how big and how broad this thing is. And again, you hear me talk about it a lot, but again, it's just very interesting to me how much this is validated here to what we're trying to talk, what we are talking about, and the point we're trying to get across, how powerful it is, what's going on up here, okay, and how that impacts your health for the good or the bad, okay. But this here is one of the conclusions on this big meta study, meta analysis, whatever they call it. It says the science of psychoneuroimmunology must go hand in hand with health education and the promotion of healthy lifestyles in order to attain patient health. Okay, I just thought that was very interesting. Okay, because that's basically saying, bottom line here, this whole study of psychoneuroimmunology and what we are finding through this is very important. It's what they're saying for us to include this when we're talking to patients. This is, I guess, it's mainly talking for doctors and healthcare practices. When we talk to patients, we need to include this. We need to remember this. This is a big deal. So I'm just encouraging you, okay, think about that, okay? We know it to a certain extent, but we need to make it real to ourselves, very real. And again, not in a condemning way, not in a fearful way, but in a very alert and powerful and a sense of authority. And it's not just a sense, but a knowing of authority. Okay, God's given me the power to be able to use my words and my thoughts on purpose to steer my health and my life in the right direction. Doesn't mean everything's going to be perfect, but we do have a say-so in that. And remember, whether you want it to or not, your words and your thoughts are going to impact your health very powerfully, one way or the other, good or bad. You choose, okay? So choose wisely. It's like God said, he says, I've put before you blessings and cursings. Now choose life, okay? So choose life. I love you. I appreciate you. Yeah, baby.